Best dating advice I've received, I guess, would probably be try putting a shirtless photo on. Yeah, try using shirtless photos.
Cool. Let's go.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Base Way Going Teresa podcast.
Let's go.
Today we have a special guest. If you have any questions for online dating, personal game, going up and meeting girls, if you have any concerns, any questions, we got the master here today. We got Alex from Playing with Fire. Welcome to the podcast.
Playing with Fuego.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Wait, Alex, if you can, you mind giving just a small little background about
Sure.
what you do?
Yeah, no worries. I have a channel called Playing with Fire. We talk about primarily around online dating, but also just like self-improvement in general. We try to give like no bullshit practical tips on how guys can get more pussy and also just be more successful in life in general. That's basically, I would say, the gist of it.
Oh, how did you start? I mean, was your goal always to have a channel, or like what was your motivation behind it?
It started with Facebook, actually. I created in like 2017, I created a Facebook group called Playing with Fire, where I was just sharing like lay reports, like stories about chicks I would hook up with on Tinder. And no, I had no intention of making it a business or something like that. I was working in the solar industry at the time. And that group grew through word of mouth. Right around the time we hit like 10,000 whatever members, Vice did an article on me, and it was like super negative. And then I lost my Facebook group like the next day. So that's when I started expanding to other platforms like YouTube.
I guess it was a blessing in disguise.
I guess in a way, I really didn't see it like that at the time because it was like really disappointing because I built up this group for like year and a half, 2 years, and it was like I was like put so much time and effort into it, and then it was just like boom, gone at the blink of a hat. So I was like really bummed out about that for a period of time. But I guess in a way it could be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I don't want to dwell on it, but I guess my only question from that would be: was it like just of times that they made a negative article about you, or was it just, I guess, them hating on you?
Sorry, what was the question? Say that one more time.
Could you said that Vice wrote a wrong or a bad article about you, and that pretty much ended that group. So I guess was it just like timing? Like, was it just not the right times to talk about?
No, I mean, just Vice is kind of known for. It's a real shame because I used to almost look up to Vice when I was younger because they do have some good investigative journalism when it comes to like foreign affairs. Like they do some crazy shit, man. Like they send like fucking journalists into like fucking Afghanistan Taliban territory, and they do some cool shit when it comes to investigative journalism. So I don't want to make it seem like Vice altogether is a piece of shit. But around like late 2015, 2016, I did notice they started taking more of a social justice warrior type of direction. Well, it's really funny if you actually look at the history of Vice. Now, a lot of people know this, but Vice was created by Gavin McInnes, who is the quote founder of the Proud Boys. But the Proud Boys wasn't even supposed to be a racist thing at first. It was supposed to be a joke. Proud Boys was created as like a fucking meme. So like all these things is pretty, but he also was the founder of Vice, super like conservative guy, right? But then he wound up selling it or whatever, and then it went to a different direction. So anyway, so the point I'm making is they kind of started going a social justice warrior direction. I wasn't the only one they did these like articles on. There's a whole bunch of other people. But basically it's just like, how can we make this person look as bad as humanly possible? Like there's no consideration of facts or evidence. And so the angle they tried to take with me was to make it seem like my Facebook group was kind of like a revenge porn type of thing, where the whole premise was sharing photos of chicks that you fucked, that you hate, which is like really not the case.
Yeah, no way.
It had nothing to do with revenge porn or showing off girls you fucked. It all had to do with like improving your text game and maybe your photos. So they completely missed the point, and they misrepresented what the group was about. And they also another thing they did, because they're very clever, they never actually used the word playing with fire in the in the whole article. You don't hear it mentioned once. you hear my name mentioned, you hear other things mentioned, but never playing with fire. So I can't even like really sue them for defamation. Not that I would, but like they're very clever in how they write these articles to avoid legal liability, but also in a way to make the other person look really bad.
We were talking about how you help men improve, especially on their online game, and I just kind of have a few questions, like just when in terms of like online text game. So after you like create a good profile, you have good, you have good photos of yourself, good lighting, and all that. You create a good bio. What would you say is like a good formula for like a good text to send a woman?
I mean, at which point in the interaction are we talking about here?
Opening message.
Off the opener, I mean, the best type of opener is something that references her photos. So you would like reference something that you see in her profile photos. I would say that would be the best type of opener.
Like, would you say you would try to make it like what angle would you try to? Are you trying to be witty? Are you trying to be like? How would you recommend a man just to kind of?
I have a video literally on. It's called "How to Write the Perfect Pickup Line." So I do like case by case. But like, let's say she has photos of herself with. Let's say she has a lot of selfies. So you could say something like, "I like your selfie collection." It's like play on words. Or like, let's say she has like cute glasses. You might like be like, "Oh, those are sexy nerd glasses." So it's like something like that. It's like tongue in cheek, short and sweet. I would say maybe 1 or 2 sentences, not longer than that.
And what would you say is the common mistake men make when it comes to openers?
There's a lot. One is they try to do pickup lines. Those are not really that good. 2 is less common is they reference her bio. I've learned you don't want to reference the girl's bio. You want to reference her photos. 3, it's super boring. Like, hi, how's it going? Hey, how are you? Or number 4, they send an essay. They send like fucking like
love note.
Love note. I love it just to say hello.
They write way too much. Yeah.
So when it comes to, you talk a little bit about frame, right? Can you kind of explain what frame is?
Sure. By the way, are you guys using an external microphone?
Yeah.
My advice would be to turn the gain down a little bit because the audio is a little crackling.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you would just
you want to go to
all right.
Yeah.
Is that better?
I would keep turning it down a little bit
Keep
more.
turning. How's that?
Yeah, it's getting better. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thanks for that.
Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, no worries. The quality is going to be a lot better. What was the question?
Can you talk about frame control and frame battling? Can you just kind of explain what that is to people who don't know what that is?
Yes. So frame is your interpretation of reality. So, for example, my frame, let's say you and I are doing a debate and you are anti-Tinder because you think that it's whatever, misogynistic. So my frame is that Tinder is perfectly fine, and you think that Tinder is whatever, like whatever, this or that, right? So that's our frames. That's our interpretation of reality. Reality is subjective. It's not objective, right? Like there's different ways of interpreting things. And frame battle would be us basically our realities colliding and seeing which reality comes on top. And that will come down to things like belief and confidence. You know, how much do you really believe in something? How good you are persuading, how good are you at explaining things, how much does your version of reality resonate, with the average person. I mean, there's many components to a frame battle, but that's kind of the short gist of it.
So when you're talking to a woman, what are the best frames, or what are some frame examples that are like considered good frames?
A common one that could take place is that that she thinks that in her version of reality, that girls who have sex on the first date are sluts, right? And that she shouldn't do that. That's her interpretation of reality, right? My interpretation of reality would be there's nothing wrong with having sex on the first date, and it doesn't make you anything, right? So we have different interpretations of reality, right? Mine is obviously more, something that's more favorable for me, right? Obviously, I want to have a version of reality where sex is not a big deal. And so, how that frame battle might take place is in my ability to convince her of my version of reality. So, for example, if we're on a date and she's like, I don't know, I don't think I should do this, right? I might be like, oh, I'll go. And she'll be like, oh, I'm not a slut. And I'd be like, so, we're kind of getting super detailed, but I might be like at that point, be like, oh, do you really think that having sex on the first date makes you a slut? I'm like, where did you get that idea? right? So then I start getting her to question her version of reality. And then once I do that, I might offer a reframe. I'd be like, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman doing something that's perfectly natural, right? Do you? And she's like, no, there's nothing wrong with it. I'd be like, yeah, the only person that's judging is yourself. So as long as you're not judging yourself, other people don't care, right? So that might be a reframe I would offer. But in terms of what are like the best frames, definitely the one that I mentioned, that sex is not a big deal. It's totally normal and natural. 2 is that you are a high value guy, or you are someone that's worth meeting. At the very least, you're you're at the very least, you're someone that's worth meeting. 3 is that you're not going to try to win her over. If anything, she should try to win you over. You're the buyer, she's the seller. Most guys completely opposite. They act like they're the seller and the girl's the buyer.
What do you mean by that? Like, can you explain that a little bit more? Like, what do you mean? Like,
they're trying to persuade the girl all the reasons why she should either go on a date with them. Or
I see.
Yeah, but that in of itself, I don't care how good your reasons are, is a low value position, because if a product is really good, then you don't really need to convince the other person to buy it, right? So as soon as you start convincing the other person, you're actually lowering the perceived value of the product, i.e. yourself in that situation. This is like, a lot of my stuff comes from sales, because I used to have a sales background. But I worked in sales for a while, and one of the like paradoxes with sales is, if you want to be a good salesman, don't make it seem like you're actually selling anything, right? Like, you don't So I wouldn't go into, when I was selling solar panels, I wouldn't go in there and try to sell them really hard. I would go into it more of like as an educator. I'm just here to educate them about solar, right? And that's a much more higher, let's just say, perceived value for him to be in. And then I'm seeing if they're the ones who are good fit for my company, right? So now I'm qualifying them, not the other way around. Now that's a lot harder to do in sales. With dating, it's easier. With sales, that's like really fucking like advanced shit. Those are fucking salesmen. So it's like, how do you make it? So with sales, it's harder. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the gist of it.
Do you want to say about qualifiers?
Yeah, I guess my question on that is, since we're talking about frames, what are like some subtle I would say shit tests, because I feel like that's part of the battle of frames. So what are some subtle shit tests that men can come across, whether that be in person or online dating, that they might not even notice? Like, I mean, if you get like insulted, but in a nice way, you're gonna obviously know it, right? But it depends on the man and how, I guess, how he emotional intelligent he is, that whether he's gonna react or not. But what are some other subtle shit tests that are thrown?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, if you may take like kind of say like a ballsy joke, a girl might be like, you can't say that. Or let's say you say something that's a little, I don't know, it's a little bit forward. She might be like, oh, really? Right? All shit test. I mean, there could be so many. It could be really anything, or she's trying to basically test and figure out whether you truly will own what you just said or did, or whether you're going to backtrack. Or like one could be like, did you just try to kiss me? Right? That's a shit test right there, right? How do you feel that? Are you going to backtrack? Oh, no, no. Or are you going to like actually like, fuck yeah, I did.
I guess my thing on that is kind of how you mentioned qualifiers, and I know you also spoke about it too, just pretty much the buyer seller frame, that like you mentioned, that you're not going to you're not going to prove yourself of what you're worth. You don't have to do that with the qualifier. But I have noticed that with online dating, it's so subtle that like when they throw a qualifier type of question, and how easy it is to fail. And I kind of do want to say a tool that you have on your website, on Playing with Fire website, the texting,
the quiz,
the quiz for your text game, like what level you're at. And the one question you had, I think, where it was like a back and forth, where it was more so like pretty much she was like seeing like if you were really about it, and at the very end, I guess the answer, I'm giving it away, was yes. Like, because the other options were, so like that was so subtle that it didn't take me till I got the results to see that. So yeah, so I guess that's my question. Like, how often do you come across it, or like what are some things to look out for?
Are you asking how to identify a shit test, or
yeah, I guess so, but I guess more of a qualifier one, because I feel like they're more subtle.
I don't know. Let me pull up one that I got earlier today.
Oh, sick. Oh, thanks, man.
So I was talking to this chick. So like we were talking last. I'm not gonna read the whole combo because it's boring. But like last, this is where it begins. So last night she's like just getting ready to sleep. I'm like, so today I'm like follow up with her. I'm like, didn't dream of me too much. I hope. She's like, haha, you are a cocky boy. 3 exclamation parts. So that's like a shit test right there. So I just say, oh, just a bit, right? Right. So a way to fail that shit test would be like, no, I'm not. Right. If you start justifying yourself. Or if you another way to fail a shit test that most people don't realize is to escalate on the shit test. So if she's like, haha, you're a cocky boy. I'm like, yeah. So do you want to give drinks? That's a fail too. That's good on a shit test. So all you want to do is just basically just own it. You don't escalate. You don't change the topic. So I say, oh, just a bit. And then she responds with, if it's the right quantity, it's good, with her bad spelling. So yeah, I mean that's an example of one right there. I think.
Yeah, no, that was a great example. You got a question, bro?
Yeah, so I know that one of the on your Playing with Fire website on the forums, you talk. I think I don't know if it's you or Indian PE. You talk about like we talked about the frame. Yeah, he does pretty good stuff. We talked about like the we frame as one of the main frames to introduce, to kind of continue the conversation and have her come over. What are some other good frames that you can try to introduce to kind of move the conversation forward?
Yeah, I mean, you can do There's a few things you can do. Role plays, right, or hypotheticals. I'm a fan of those. You can do sexual innuendos. I'm a fan of those as well. Let's see, what else can you do? I mean, like between those three, you honestly have enough. I'm sure there's a few things that are just like escaping my mind. But yeah, I mean, I think like just a little bit of stuff like that is good. You don't need to like go crazy with it. Really good text game is like a balance between like regular conversation, like flirting, vibing, and logistics and moving things forward. And so just a little bit of reframe and role play and all that stuff is more than sufficient.
And then how many texts would it take to ask for the number, or is it just a vibe thing?
It's definitely a vibe thing. I mean, I fucked around with it. Sometimes I wait a while. Sometimes I literally go for the number, second, third text. I don't think there's like a right or wrong answer here. I think the best way is when you can just kind of read the vibe and pick up her level of interest, and then you move things forward. But like I've even kind of changed my mind on that a little bit. I used to think that you needed to wait until you got the girl invested before you move things forward. But then I've had a little bit of an epiphany that maybe the reason she's not investing is because she's on the app, and if you can just get her off the app, she will invest more. So then I had a few situations where the girl wasn't investing at all, and then I asked for the number, she gave me the number, and then over text she started to invest. So I've kind of changed my mind a little bit on that. So I don't even really have a good answer there. I think it really just depends on a case by case basis.
So you kind of move it forward towards like a WhatsApp or a phone number, right? Just trying to get her off the app.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As of more recently, yeah, I have been doing stuff like that. Because again, like in theory, it sounds good. Build investment, then go for the number. But sometimes the reason she's not investing is just because she's on the app and she doesn't check it much.
I guess my question on that is, what's a better way to close, in your opinion? Closing for a number off the app, or asking for like a social media, Snap, IG? Like, what do you think is more optimal to continue the conversation?
In my opinion, definitely phone number, unless you have like a verified Instagram account, which 99.9% of people. So yeah, I would say definitely phone number. I don't really do any other kind of close. I don't do like Snapchat or Instagram or anything.
Is that the same when you do a cold approach? Do you go for the phone number, or do you go for like IG, Snap?
Yeah, I go for phone number. Yeah.
Okay.
But I am going to do an experiment because I'm trying to get my Instagram verified right now. And then once I get it verified, I'm actually going to try going for the phone number. I mean, for the Instagram, and see if like that plays a role. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh, you finally got your Instagram up after the scam artist tried to take you down?
Yeah, I think if you have a really, really good Instagram, there might be some credence to from cold approach going to Instagram. But again, that excludes 99% of people.
Yeah.
I guess since you live in Miami, right?
I do, yeah.
So I guess it's way different over there. So would the cloud help you out even more out there as opposed to, because we live in the Bay Area, so maybe our games are different just a tad bit.
I would think it would be the same exact thing. It's a city in the U.S., major city in the U.S. Yeah, I don't think there would be any big differences between Bay Area and Miami in terms of that.
So I guess there's a chance for me then about No, but that's interesting because we actually were having that conversation. Like, is it different out there? Like, because we basically what we only see or what I see are just more like different podcasters from out there who have certain type of girls go on. So you kind of think that's a lifestyle out there, but from your point of view, I've seen you meet cool people.
Because you look at like Fresh and Fit and stuff, and you think, oh, that's like the average Miami girl. I can certainly tell you that's not the average Miami girl. They attract a very, very certain demographic. Like most chicks in Miami are not like these crazy cloud diggers. They're pretty normal. Like, you know what the average Miami girl is? Like a fucking chick who moved from Venezuela when she was 14. She's pretty hot, and she works in like, I don't know, fucking like a dental clinic or something like that. That's like your average Miami girl. Like, it's not like some crazy fucking skanky cloud digger who gets. So yeah, like it's really not like how it seems. Like on TV. Don't get me wrong. There's some crazy shit that definitely only happens in Miami. But that stuff more is towards like Miami Beach area. But like that's a small part of Miami. Locals don't even really go. Like where I live, which is like more downtown, like sure you see some crazy shit, yeah, but like it's like that in any city. I wouldn't say it's like particularly like different or something like that.
Man, that's cool.
Dude, with the Bay Area, I heard that you fucking guys have like armies of like people who are like going into stores and just robbing everything.
Oh, in the city? Yeah, in San Francisco.
Yeah. How often is that happening?
Not too much. It's actually been a while since I've heard any
news
from that, but
I see videos almost every day about like a new one where like fucking 20 people run into a store.
In the city used to be common. In fact, they actually had to close a few Walgreens and stuff like that because the homeless would just go in and they know they're not going to get, prosecuted or anything. So they just go in with a cart full of stuff and just walk out.
How bad is the homeless problem in San Francisco?
Right? Oh, man.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
You would think it's a third world country. Like, there's certain parts where it's real bad.
That's what I heard. Dude, it was bad. I went to San Francisco in 2013, and I thought it was bad at that time.
No, especially after the pandemic, a lot of people lost their houses and stuff. So, and then, a lot of cities, what they'll do is they'll give the homeless one-way tickets to the city of San Francisco and just send them in. Because they know that there's more services out there. So, Vegas did that.
If I was the mayor of Miami, I would probably do something like that. I'd just head off to San Francisco.
You guys gotta go. San Francisco.
Just solve the problem in one day in your city. Yeah, that's not
now we're talking about online game. Can we? I'm going to transition to cold approach. What are some tips guys can do for cold approach, like in terms of like going out there and just talking to women?
Oh man, that's a pretty general question.
3 big tips, I guess, would be
big tips with cold approach.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many, but okay, let me try to pick 3 good ones. One is try to like really look your best before you go out. So like get a fresh haircut, wear clothes that fit you well. Really like try to look your best because that will affect your success rate. And to pay attention to like your surrounding areas. Like a lot of people, they just walk around and they're just like they don't notice, but pay attention to the surrounding area. Try to see if any girls are looking at you, right? Because those are going to be a lot easier to approach.
Yeah. So
just keep an eye out of your outside surroundings. I would say 3 is I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good one. Like, I mean, a lot of it is also like we're getting into like technical stuff, but I would say don't startle girls. Like, don't approach girls from the back. That's a mistake a lot of guys make, and me too, one occasionally. Don't startle girls, like, because if you startle a girl, that's already like starting off on a bad foot. So try to like, if a girl's walking, try to catch up and get a little bit ahead of her before you open her, right? Don't open from the back. Or let's say, for example, it's a girl who's standing. Like, don't come from the back. Like, try to come in from the side and get into her field of vision before you open. Just avoid like scaring or startling the girl, basically. Yeah, I mean, those are. I mean, I have a million more, but those are just like the quick ones.
The main ones.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say there's like so many more, but yeah, those are like quick 3 ones, I guess.
I guess. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I guess for you, let's say, or not, or I guess your advice for somebody who is, I would say maybe a beginner, maybe somewhat intermediate, or I say beginner, but if they had enough courage to, either go with friends or just go by themselves to like go do cold approaches, would you advise them to just go up and talk to a girl anywhere, or would you like recommend a nightclub or a bar just for them to kind of start getting, build some momentum, kind of get themselves going?
Well, I would say nightclub would be the most intimidating place to do approaches. Dinner. So I would certainly think it would be easier to do approaches like during the daytime at the park or at a coffee shop or at the mall or at maybe a chill bar rather than a club. I feel like club is the most intimidating. So I would not advise that. Yeah, I would say like just start off with like a more chill environment, like again like a park or like a chill bar / lounge. You could hit up like happy hour, like go out at like 6 p.m. right into like an outdoor lounge type of area. Like that could be that can be so much better than going to like a club at 2 a.m.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Do you? I mean, when you were single, did you used to go to clubs and stuff like that to approach?
No, I always hated clubs. I never went to clubs. I would go to like kind of like the place I mentioned, like bars and stuff like that. But no, I never. I've maybe been to like 5, 6, 7 clubs in my whole lifetime. Like not many, like a dozen probably. I really don't like clubs.
Is it just because it's very difficult to actually have a conversation or music or what was?
Yeah, I feel like one of my best attributes is like my the fact that I'm pretty funny, and you can't really be funny in a club because it's so fucking loud. So I lose my voice. I don't know. I think I'm just have like I don't know how to explain it. Like my voice goes out really easily. So if I'm in a loud environment, I lose my voice after 15, 20 minutes.
That makes sense.
I like this, right? And then like no one can understand me for the rest of the night. So yeah, it's just like losing the voice. Even at like a loud bar, that will happen to me. So I don't know. I think I'm way more prone to it than the average person. I don't think I know anyone can lose their voice, but I think it happens to me a lot more than the average person. So I just avoid any environment where I can lose, where my voice can like go out. I guess there's like some vocal exercises I could do if I was like curious, if I want to, but yeah, I just like avoid those places.
That's a good point. That does happen to me multiple times. Oh man, I'd be so annoyed.
No one can understand you. You're just like,
Yeah. So you're about to say something, or even just like say hello, and then you're just like, I just like have to just walk away, like just lose interest. You can't speak. Oh man.
Yeah. I also have like bad hearing, so I can't even fucking hear shit sometimes. So yeah, for me, a club is like a fucking nightmare on 3 different levels.
That makes sense.
If you don't have any more questions on game, I got a whole different spin on it.
All right.
Do you want me to spin it? Or?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one thing I've noticed recently, like one thing I noticed that you do have like a lot of debates, and you tend to debate like a lot of people, whether it be like Roland Tomasky fans, whether it be social justice warriors, or even Black Pillars, right? I mean, I know I'm going very specific, but YOLO. So so my question is though, like what is it? Because I noticed that a lot of social justice warriors seem to like misunderstand you on TikTok, that they leave like so many comments to you. So what do you think is the misunderstanding there? Because from what I've noticed from your work, I don't see what they say, but maybe you I mean it's your life, so I know you know more about that, but just kind of curious.
Yeah, I think I have some theories on that for sure. That's an interesting question. Yeah, because if you think about it, like my content is pretty moderate. Like I would say that I'm pretty like, if we look at a spectrum of like I don't know, like soy boy feminist here, I'm like hardcore person here. I'm very much like in the middle. Like I feel like I'm pretty nuanced and balanced on pretty much every issue. So there's nothing like crazy about my content at all. But so why do I think they have such a crazy reaction? I think a lot of them have a lot of pain in their life, and they want someone to demonize. So they just want someone they can like make it seem like that person. The only reason I'm not succeeding is because of Alex from playing with fire. Or that's the only reason. Yeah, I think it's much more subconscious than that. So yeah, I think a lot of them just want someone they can vilify. That's part of it. I think another part of it is another big part of it is also I think a lot of people don't really even understand my content. So they're arguing against stuff that I don't actually believe in. They're making a lot of straw man arguments. They're like, fuck this guy, he wants to take away women's rights. No, I don't believe that. Never said that. But so I think because a lot of them, they're not even watching my content, they're watching reaction videos to my content, and those reaction videos are biased, right? So they're forming an opinion that's like has nothing to do with actually what I believe in or what my content is about. So I think that's a big part of the problem as well. I think most people are lazy, so they don't really bother to do the research and like go through my content and like really just try to figure out what I believe and what I don't. I think most of them just assume a lot of things that isn't actually true. They argue against positions I don't actually hold. Like all the time I see this, like, dude, I disagree with you about this. I'm like, okay, but I don't actually believe in that at all. Everyone said it. Don't believe in it. I agree with you that the argument you're arguing against is fucked up, except the only problem with your logic is I don't actually believe in that. So I think laziness is definitely a part of it. Let me think what else. I mean, I would say those are the big ones off the top of my head, why they have such a visceral reaction. I think social justice warriors in general are pretty fucking lame. Get off on like virtue signaling and like their whole thing is they try to show how much more ethical they are than the other person. So they just get off on like virtue signaling, which I think is also like really lame. Yeah, so I think like part of the problem is just with the mindset of a social justice warrior of like, I'm going to show the world how ethical I am, right? But how are you going to do that? You're going to do that at someone else's expense. How much more ethical you are than me? Okay, congratulations, Mr. Fucking, goody two shoes. You're so ethical.
What I've noticed with, sorry to cut you off, but I just think it's very important. What I've noticed is that they come out of like this kind of like a victim mindset. They just have this belief that the world is against them, and like you said, they want a bad guy to pin it on to make themselves feel superior.
Yeah, that's definitely part of the victim mindset. It's like becoming like, people are, I don't know why people encourage that. I never encouraged that on my channel. When people go on and say, yeah, Alex, the reason I'm not like successful is because of feminism, I just like, whoa, like stop right there. That's not the reason you're not successful with chicks. So I never allow people to do that in my channel, like in my content. Certainly, I don't encourage any kind of victim mindset. I don't even care if it's based in like somewhat of a reality. No. But yeah, other content creators and other whatever, they love that. They love encouraging victim mindsets. Like, yeah, no, you're right. The only reason you're not successful is because of the patriarchy, which is like nonsense, like at this point in time in history. But yeah, you see that on both sides of the internet too. You see that in the manosphere. They bitch a lot how the source of all their problems is feminism. And then the feminists say that the source of all the problems is the patriarchy. Right? So they're just living in two completely opposite versions of reality where they're both playing victim.
Do you feel that, or I guess I can say how it started, but I guess I can say how it started. Were you like a big fan of debating, or like how did you come into like just having debates?
No, it was really random. I was never on I have no formal debate training at all. I was never in like any kind of debate team. I never gave a shit about debating. The closest I used to watch the presidential debates. That's about it. Well, like that's like half the American population watches that. It happened really randomly, honestly. I was doing a live stream with Kevin Ray Wilder, and he was like, yo, this person wants to debate us. I was like, oh shit, I've never done that, but okay. And I just tried it, and it was like pretty fun. So I was like, oh, I kind of like this shit. I'll keep doing it, and like the audience seemed to enjoy it. But yeah, I really discovered it really randomly, and it was only like 5-6 months ago that I started debating.
And that's cool because I noticed that especially when you have like social justice warriors on, I feel like sometimes the bridge gets gapped. Like they finally understand your perspective and they hear you out. I mean, I don't know if there's like any happy endings from you guys having those debates, but it's pretty cool.
I never like banged the social justice warrior chick from
no, not even like that. I just meant like you guys were cool at the end. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that happens most of the time. like the chick from last night, she's been texting me a lot. Yeah, she seems like really cool with me now. Yeah, she's like now we're like BFFs. Yeah. So yeah, that's happened multiple times. I think. Yeah, for sure, 100%. I've had people who were like quite antagonistic towards me. Then we do a debate, and then like they're like super friendly towards me afterwards. Yeah, that's happened multiple occasions for sure.
That's cool. That's cool that you guys bridged the gap after all that. Because there'll be some wild things they tell you, man. I'm like,
man, on TikTok,
I'm like, whoa.
The people that are reacting to your TikToks is, I don't even know if they should even be reacting. They look like creatures from Creature Feature.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's always like the grossest, ugliest fat girl who's calling me ugly.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Anything else?
We got a question.
Do you want to do your rapid fire?
You want to start wrapping up?
Up to you.
All right, if you have any more, go ahead. Okay, Alex, so what we tend to do here on our podcast is we tend to have like just a quick 5-question rapid fires.
Okay.
Just ask you. So, yep, we'll go ahead and start. So, favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite number?
3.
Favorite wrestler growing up?
Never watched wrestling, but I guess The Rock.
Okay, that's cool. Favorite musician you're listening to right now?
Oh, shit, man. So hard to pick. I mean, I recently started listening to some old Eminem stuff. I used to be a big Eminem fan growing up, and then I stopped listening to his music for ages. I wouldn't say he's like my favorite musician or anything, but I've started like re-listening to some of his old songs again, and I'm like, fuck, this guy was fucking really good back when he was broke and angry. His music really went downhill when he became successful. Like when he was like broke, angry, and on drugs, that's when his music was the best. And then he became like sober, and then his like he had some good hits, but then it was like it wasn't like good.
Yeah, especially like towards like the last couple albums, like Recovery,
Relapse.
I feel like the other one, like Relapse, like those were way different than as opposed
Yeah.
to
Some good old songs, man, that he had. I forgot how good some of his old shit is.
Man, that's sick. All right, and my last one is what's the best dating advice you ever received?
Best dating advice I've received, I guess, would probably be try putting a shirtless photo on. Try using shirtless photos. It really, because it got me to question all the other assumptions I had. I got this from Revolutionary Lifestyle line around 2015, and he was an advocate of shirtless photos. And for a long time, that went against conventional wisdom that you shouldn't do shirtless photos because it's douchey, it's try hard. I tried it, and it worked pretty well. And then I started questioning all the other assumptions I had about online dating and text game. And then I started doing a lot more testing, and that's what things really started to take off for me. I started questioning some of the assumptions I held.
Can I ask just one more question on dating?
Yeah.
Okay, on dating apps, what do you think is better, if I had a shirtless photo, or like if someone had a shirtless photo, or it'd be like you take a picture with like girls, like if you had like 2 hot girls with you, or is that I heard it?
Definitely shirtless photo. Girl, that's a misconception that exists. I don't know. I've like spoke out against it like countless times, but this misconception never goes away. This idea that you need to show social proof on your Tinder profile by having photos with girls. And that's only going to lose you points. It only works. It's only good if you're going for the threesome profile angle. So if you're like, if you have a threesome profile, then yes, photos with girls, that's a good thing. That's not 99% of Tinder profiles. For 99% of people, it's either going to be neutral or it's actually going to hurt them. So yes, I would 100% say shirtless photo over the photo with 2 chicks.
Oh, cool. And I guess the last question I have just on dating apps, which out of the 3 do you think are the best? Tinder, Bumble, and
I mean, I think that it constantly. So for the record, I'm banned from all 3 of those right now. So
hey, I'm not on Tinder. I got banned on Tinder. I don't know why, but I got banned too.
I don't have access to any of those. But like, it really depends on what area you live in, what demographic. I mean, for some people, this app is better. For some people, that app is better. There's really like a lot of factors, so it can really vary. I don't think there's one that's universally better. Which one do I like the most? I don't know. I mean, Hinge in other countries, Tinder, but in America, like Hinge is pretty good, and Bumble. But Bumble can be kind of buggy. So it really just depends. Like it constantly fluctuates for me. I don't really have one that I think is like superior to the others.
Mm. Yeah. They're all pretty hit or miss. Even in Miami, they're hit and miss. Like I guess it just depends on that. Even in Miami,
I have some friends who do best on Bumble, some friends who do best on
Mm.
Bing. Really runs the gamut.
I feel that. I do miss my Tinder. that was my good one.
Me too.
But yeah, you have any other questions?
I guess my last question would be, if you had like an auditory, like a stadium full of men, right? And you have a mic and you can give three hard truths, three advice to men to improve their dating life. What are those three advice you would give them?
Oh man, 3 pieces of advice that would apply to the most men that can improve their dating life.
Mm-hmm.
I would say number 1, think of yourself as a brand. Like what's the brand about? Are you the cheap knockoff brand like Walmart or something, or are you like a more upscale brand? What kind of brand do you want to be? And position yourself like a brand. So, for example, to use myself, if you look at my Instagram, there's like some themes that you see. A big one is my dog, right? That's like part of my brand. Like I'm a guy who has a cute dog. Or another one is travel, right? It's like there's a lot of travel photos. So you kind of like think of what angle you want to take. I guess angle is a better word. Just try to figure out what angle you want to take and what angle is going to work best for you. Be strategic with it. Number 2, try to find guys who are succeeding in whatever you want to succeed in and try to reverse engineer what they're doing. I don't really think you have to like reinvent the wheel for pretty much anything at this point in time. Number 3, I would say is I don't know. I would say like don't fall into a victim mindset. Like don't hang out with people who are victims. Try to hang out with people who are positive and who are like doing shit and who are like trying to get better, rather than people who are just complaining or being victims, because that's going to drag you down as well, whether you know it or not.
Cool. Thanks.
Those are cool. I guess my last question is, where can people find you at?
Just on my YouTube channel, Playing with Fire, or my website, playingfire.com. Or my TikTok, Playing with Fire Dating.
When can people expect the new product, the blueprint? Dating blueprint?
That's the question. That's the ongoing question. I would say it's already finished. I'm just the only thing that's not finished is the editing, because I do want to finish editing.
Okay.
But it's 100% finished. It's been finished for like 2 months. I'm just going through the reviewing and editing stage. I'm like 70% of the way done with that. So I think in a month it'll be out. It may be 5-6 weeks at most. But it's the only reason it's taking so long is just because I'm like really obsessing about all the small details and trying to make it perfect. But it's already done. It's already great. But there's also just little things that I'm doing to like fine tune it. But yeah, I would say 4 to 6 weeks, I guess, is the answer.
Okay. Cool. Thanks again.
I promise it's coming. I'm not like making it. There is a product coming, and it's going to be really good, in my opinion.
We've been waiting for it, Alex.
I think people at this point think I'm just making it up because I've
running business is different.
Yeah. If you want, especially if you're producing a superior product, take time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I also have like some limitations when it comes to like it's a whole story in of itself. But yeah, so it's coming out.
All right, cool.
All right, Alex. I guess on that note, we just want to say a thank you again for coming by, and it's been a great podcast. It's been really cool having you on.
Yeah, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Alex. Take care, man.
Is it?
You can put that one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Peace.
All right, Alex. See you later.